Hello, Assalamu alaikum. Today we will talk about moderated mediation using process model 8. In our previous video on moderated mediation, we used process model 7, which helps the researcher to understand the impacts of a moderator on X and M relations. But today the model 8 will be used, which assists in computing the impacts of a moderator on two paths, path A and path C. So model 8 is actually a facility to help the researcher in using the moderators at 2 points, meaning that moderator designation affects not only the X-M relations to cast impact on Y, it also plays a role in the X-Y relations directly on the path C. This model tests that how far the officers and staff members have the liberty to use their self-confidence in affecting the employee performance, which is conditioned by their designation at two levels of relations, XMY and XY, direct relationship and indirect relationship. It implies that an officer has control of more organizational resources as compared to staff members. Therefore, he/she can better use these strategies based on self-confidence and thereby exert greater impact on the performance. As per Model 8, the theoretical framework will appear like that: X independent variable, M mediator, Y dependent variable, while W is referring to the moderator with impacts on path A and path C. Now let's move to Spss and compute the moderated mediation using model 8 by Hayes. Our independent variable is self-confidence, employee performance as outcome variable or dependent variable, organizational culture as the mediator, and designation as the moderator. And we shall change the model number to 8. We shall also request for the effect size, Subel test, total effect model. Continue. And the results will come now. It takes some time because it uses bootstrapping, which is a rigorous process. So these are the results. Model 8, Y is the dependent variable, X the self-confidence independent variable, M is the mediator, while W designation refers to the moderator. I have posted these results in the slideshow. So the first model that comes out of the using process model 8, which explains the variables and their role in the process. The first outcome is the impacts on organizational culture. X on M as moderated by designation. And we can see that in predicting organizational culture, M, self-confidence, designation and the interaction term of the moderator have been used, and we can see that the designation is negatively but significantly associated are predicting the organizational culture with minus 1.3936 coefficient. T is more than 1.96, 3.48. P value is also significant, less than 0.05, and both the values of lower level confidence interval and upper level confidence interval, both the limits are minus, meaning that both are on the minus side, so there is no chance of having 0 between these two upper and lower limits. Likewise, the interaction term is positively and significantly associated and predicting the organizational culture. So all are significant, all are making contribution to the organizational culture, including self-confidence, moderator, as well as mediator through interaction term. Here, the outcome variable is employee performance, and the variables in predictors used to predict employee performance are organizational culture, which is significant with huge effect, are coefficient. T is 8.4 greater than 1.96, p value is significant 0.000, and the lower and upper limits of confidence interval are also positive, so there is no chance of 0 in between, which means that the results are significant. Second, self-confidence. The self-confidence has emerged as insignificant. The coefficient insignificant as well as negative. For example, the coefficient is 0.0866, t-score is 1.2, which is less than 1.96, which is required, p-value is totally insignificant, and here lower and upper limits of confidence interval, one is minus and the other is plus, so definitely 0 comes between two limits. Therefore, it is also confirming that self-confidence is insignificantly explaining or predicting employee performance. Again, the interaction term is very much positive and significant with huge coefficient value. T-score is 5.2, p-value is also significant, and lower and upper limits are also falling on the same side, so no 0 between the limits, which means that the impact of interaction term on employee performance is also significant. Now let's go to the final result, that what are the direct and indirect effects. Direct means X on Y conditioned by designation, that will be direct effect, and then X and on M conditioned by designation and then affecting Y. So direct effect is also conditioned with staff and officers affecting differently. So the direct effect of X on Y in case of staff is insignificant, totally insignificant. Minus effect, T is 1.2, less than 1.96, p value is also insignificant, and in lower and upper limits one side is minus and the other is plus, so there is a 0 between the limits. However, at this level of direct effect of X on Y, the officers they have effect as well as significant effect on the employee performance. T-score is 5.1, greater than 1.96, p-value is significant, as well as these upper and lower limits are also supporting that the effect of X on Y in case of officers is greater. Now, the indirect effects of X on Y at various values of moderator, effects of OC on Y moderated are conditioned by designation X, M and Y. So, here we can see that in the presence of organizational culture, the staff is also affecting the employee performance with 0.2302, and the upper and lower limits are also supporting the significance. And second, in the presence of organizational culture, the officers, they are also affecting but greater than the staff members, and their results are also significant. So in direct effect, the self-confidence of staff is insignificant. However, in indirect effect of X and Y in the presence of OC, both officers and staff are positively and significantly affecting the employee performance. So in this video, we have tested the impacts of a moderator on two parts. First, between the self-confidence and organizational culture, and then in the middle of X and Y. And the results show that the impact on employee performance is greater when the officer is tested, while it is weaker when the staff member is tested as using self-confidence in affecting the performance. However, the results also confirm that organizational culture is helping the staff members to use their self-confidence in changing or affecting their performance. In the absence of organizational culture, the results of impacts by staff members are their self-confidence on employee performance was insignificant. So I hope it will be helpful. See you in next video. Khuda Hafiz.